What up, High and Wide fam? I'm Dave Leonard, Delco Dave, joined by a very special guest,
Thank
Flyers
you.
icon Lou Nolan, and my mentor Zach Kindertruck.
Hey guys, good to be on the show with you here.
Lou, thanks for coming on, man. We really appreciate it.
Sure.
So this is a special pregame edition. Normally this is a post-game show we do, but I was told that you wouldn't be able to make the 10 o'clock broadcast, so they told me to make it a pregame show for you, Lou.
That's a good idea. At least I'll still be awake.
So, Lou, we're winding down here. We were talking backstage. You got one more game, right? That's it, and then your season's done.
Friday night, that'll be it, and we'll tuck it in for a season and look forward to next year. It just has to be that way. And good young guys. We're I don't know if all the young guys will make it, but mixed in with a few of those veterans, who knows?
Lou, I'm curious. What do you do in the off season?
I sell investments to financial institutions.
Oh, okay.
So it's different stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
I can see how those two skills would correlate.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Sure. I love this guy. I love him.
Yeah. When I mentioned that you were coming to the show, Zach was the first one to say, yo, I'm coming on too. He wants to come on all my shows, though. I think he has a crush on me.
I have a little bit.
I think it is.
It is.
The man crush, definitely.
It's such a big man crush. Yeah. Because look at that shirt. Look at Dave's shirt. I mean, that's just a glorious thing. Philadelphia hockey, completely unlicensed, nothing to do with the Flyers. Probably cost him $8, and that's what he chose to wear tonight.
Well, I got Flyers Warriors.
Oh,
those guys.
Because Lou always brings the honor. Lou, honestly, you are. I'm so glad that you got your night and you got your jersey because it's been a down year for the Flyers, and there's been most of the stuff that has happened that's been positive for the team has been off the ice. And certainly your night, man. I was so thrilled to watch you finally. The fan base has loved you forever, but to see the team recognize you was remarkable, man. I hope you enjoyed that day.
I did thoroughly, and I think the a couple things were really special, and that was that when the guys came out with those jerseys on for warm up, they did with 50 on it and my name on the back. I mean, hell, that was something else. That went through me. And to do that for a PA announcer, my God. And also having my family on the ice with me was great. I do it all the time. I'm used to it now. And to have, Ellen and Jeff and Matt and Adrian out there, and there's one shot of us all looking up at whatever's playing on the scoreboard there that was taken, and it's just fabulous. We have it up on the wall already. Our wall at home. So, it's good.
That's absolutely awesome, man. You're so ingrained in the fabric of the Flyers organization. I mean, I wasn't being sarcastic when I said Flyers icon, man. Like, I feel like you're just so synonymous with the Flyers, and it's a certain kind of level you've achieved. It was like a lifetime achievement award is how I kind of viewed it when you had that night, man.
Well, I wanted to go further, and, I don't want to stop now, and nobody wants me to, and they told me they'll keep me moving there. So I'll stick with it. We'll see. It's just an honor that they would think to do this. And I was really pleased the way it all came off.
Lou, I was talking to my mom earlier today. Lynn.
I sure do.
Yeah.
Great girl.
Yes. She's she was and both and I were talking about, did your voice sound like this 50 years ago?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
People ask me, did you train? Did you do this? I didn't do anything. Yeah. I made press box announcements when I was in the PR group. There were 5 years of doing those. And then when I went downstairs, 72, 73, I just said I want that job because I never saw any goals. I'd be writing and doing this and doing that. And there weren't TVs all over the place like there are now. And, so I'd hear a roar and I'd look up and it's over. So, and then I'd hear what the announcer said and I'd pick up the phone and write it down and say it again to the guys in the press boxes. And voice never meant to be anything,
Yeah.
Never meant to be anything.
Can you evaluate my abilities? You
Your
want to do
voice.
like an American Idol thing here? Can I try out
You
here?
have a ways to go, Zach. You have a ways to go. But that's a good question from Lynn. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Make sure that you remember me to her, will you, please?
Oh, of course.
Great girl.
Yeah.
I think we had a drink or two in Rexy's down through the years. So.
Yeah, I mean that was the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure was.
Man, I love Flyers history, and obviously I grew up in this area, and I don't know other maybe the Penguins, maybe the Blues have a similar spot where everyone congregated. But man, your Rexy stories when you were on my show, I love that. I love that they would just be there at noon after practice, having a roast beef sandwich. You got future Hall of Famers there, just hanging out with the fans.
Well, I would think, Dave and Zach, that every team has their place to go where nobody bothers them. You know, I mean, there was a few places here, and different places that where they could go and get a few beers and have a sandwich. And it wasn't just Rexy's, but for a while there, it was just Rexy's for that one group of guys. You know, and then they go to Jay's Elbow Room over on 73. That was one of the places, and nobody cared who they were.
Elbow?
Remember Jay's?
Jay's is still there.
Yeah, it's still there. I went by it the other day, and I was telling my wife, I said, I know that place for sure.
Yeah.
But, you know, guys would go there, and nobody cared who they were. You know, the locals. Just have a beer and relax. That's all. And that's what the guys wanted.
That
you
was
know,
actually...
now if you go out and you have a couple of drinks, somebody's taking a cell phone picture of you, I guess, and sending it everywhere. And if you have a bad game, they'll blame you on a couple of beers, which isn't the case at all.
Well, the weird thing is, Lou, too, if like Bobby Clark was sitting there and sitting next to a mailman, just maybe slamming down a beer before he had to go back to delivering mail, the mailman was making more than Bobby Clark.
Yeah, I guess it's possible,
yeah,
but
I know Clark
did okay in the early years, all things considered.
I think Bobby Clark's okay.
Yeah. Oh, he's doing okay now, but like it was pretty lean in the early years. And
well, I recall when Bernie signed with the World Hockey Association, he signed a 4-year, $400,000 contract. That's $100,000 a year, and that was a big one. You know, Zach, that was a big one. So, but I think, you know, I don't know what Bob made. That's a private matter, but I suspect he did all right. And 14 government employee, you know, he could have been making a ton, that mailman. A lot of overtime.
Oh, and the pension was so much better for the post office. Yeah, it's funny, Lou. Like, and my dad got offered a big deal with the WHA too. They were spending all sorts of money, but
oh yeah,
name the trophy that you win at the end of that season. Nobody knows that.
Atco Cup.
Lou knows.
Lou knows it.
Don't ask me how I drug that one out. All I know is it was sponsored. Everything was sponsored. That guy had everything sponsored. But yeah. So far, the Stanley Cup is still the Stanley Cup. So
yeah,
it doesn't have any labels on it or anything like that, like some of the jerseys and helmets do. But and it's funny, the Flyers had something on the side of their helmets 2 years ago, and then this year, nothing, just the logo. So I guess that deal didn't work out so well for that group.
Well, I made an offer.
Nobody wants to sponsor this team.
The name of my podcast on the side of the helmet, but they wanted $200 a game, and I'm like, there's not enough.
Oh yeah, $200? You kidding me? Not a good idea.
Not for the product they've been putting out this season.
Well, yeah, and you know, it started right away when you know, your number one defenseman goes down, and I always thought that when the few games that I saw Ryan Ellison really concentrate on him, that the puck didn't stay on his stick more than a split second. Get it, boom, gone, and that helped a lot for guys to score goals early on. And you know, instead of getting it, you're looking around, you're wondering when to make the play. He had the ability to be ahead of the play, and when that went away, it caused a problem. Add that to Niskanen not being there, and boy, you get the double shot of the shotgun, you know, double barrels right off the bat.
Well, some of the things we've seen, it sounds like Ellis doesn't even want to be here. From what I heard, he doesn't even want to be around a team. I don't know if you know anything about that, but some of the reports, so he's just not even interested in being here, it sounds like.
I don't know. he should be interested for the deal he got. That's for sure. And he would be able to get Zach's logo on the side of the helmets. He'd be able to afford that $200 for sure. So it's I really don't get into the politics of the players. It's in the room. Whatever they're going to do, they do. I just try to inform the public what's going on and do it in a professional manner. And most of the time, it's right.
Lou, just based on other unconfirmed rumors that I've heard, is that you're going to be doing PA for the Colorado Avalanche next year.
Well, they haven't made an offer yet, Zach. Colorado's nice, though.
Yeah,
but I love Philly. I mean,
I know. Dude, Lou, you are Philly. Like, yeah, I'm. It took 50 years for them to finally coronate you. That was as special a moment as any of the Flyers Hall of Fame moments. But when you have to be the PA announcer and kind of jack up the crowd whenever, even if they're down 3-0 or whatever, how do you approach that psychologically? Like, all right, what sort of tenor of voice do you use when they're going on a power play when they're down 3-0 with about 4 minutes to go?
Well, if they're going to go to power play, you remember that was Easy Button from the Staples?
Oh, the Staples commercials, yeah.
Well, this is something that Pico did.
Oh my God! I can't.
So they did about 3,000 of these. They gave them out one game.
Yeah,
and they did another 300 or 400 for their employees. But I mean, I don't try to change much. I try not to be a cheerleader. Some of it may sound that way once in a while, but I really try not to. Our in-arena host, Everett Jackson, that's what he does. And he's really good at it, as far as getting the crowd psyched up. And but it's a hard job this year. It's a hard job because, the building is not filled. And fans are having a good time, but sometimes we fall ahead or fall behind early on, and it makes it interesting. But we work at just getting the information out. I think that's the key. I don't change the way I do things. Maybe a big goal.
Yeah.
We haven't had many big goals, so I haven't had too much. But it was nice to beat Pittsburgh 3-1. Sorry to see Sidney get that one near the end there. But, he's in the right place at the right time so much. He just can play. He's a great player. But, hey, he's a good guy, too. I have his stick in my collection. He gave me a stick, so,
I hate to, I'll just decimate my podcast audience, but I'm a big Sidney Crosby fan.
Well,
you are.
I think he just tied Wayne Gretzky for most consecutive seasons averaging a point per game. They both had 17 in a row.
That right? Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Not surprised. The guy is just a phenomenal player. I remember his first game in here. We didn't like him and he didn't like us. And I guess it was Hatcher just punched him right in the face and bloodied him up and knocked out a tooth. And after that, it was all like that whenever he showed up. Last night, I'm doing their lineup. And when I get to the end, they do sucks now on every guy. And they're waiting. They're waiting for 87. And I know I could hear them getting a little louder. It was a pretty good crowd. When I finally get to the end, and number 87, Sidney Crosby, sucks. It's like colossal. Just because that's that's the way it is with a visiting player like that.
Have you ever considered turning on your mic and joining along with the sucks?
No. No, I like the guy. He's okay. It's just I don't like him when he plays against us.
Right, of course. Yeah.
But a good guy.
Been one of the best players in the league for 2 decades now.
Obviously. Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Guy's good at what he does, but any fan's going to hate him. But
he had concussions and worked through that and stuff, some injuries and still produces.
Unbelievable.
He's not done.
Yeah, here's the thing. All those fans that hate him, if he was a free agent tomorrow and the Flyers signed him, they would immediately be getting his jersey. Like, everybody that hates the guy would not be not rooting for him. You know what I mean?
We drive him from the airport in a convertible.
Yeah.
Right into the building.
Yeah.
People be lining up to go pick him up at the airport.
Yep. They asked me, I would go get him.
See, now
He's something else.
That's a welcoming party right now. Lou Nolan picking you up at the airport.
They probably wouldn't have let me park there. I put the blinkers on and my car would be towed.
No, but maybe you can help recruit some free agents to the team this offseason. We could use
I lost your audio there, Dave.
Oh.
Wait a minute.
Can you hear me, Zach?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Oh,
Lou,
we lost Lou.
Oh, we lost Lou. So it's just me and you, Dave, for a second.
Hello?
Oh,
you got me?
We got you back, Lou. We got you back.
Oh, it's maybe shorter than 30 minutes. I can't figure out what's going on here. Let's see. Mute? No,
you're good now, Lou.
No, I'm not muted.
No, you're good. Lou can't hear us at all.
I know. Yeah.
That's not it. I'm in the studio.
Lou, can you hear me?
There. I'm in the show. I don't know, boys.
Oh,
anything on your end?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
We can hear you.
Yeah, but he can't hear us. His cracked headphones have come back to be a problem. Yeah. Well, that's too bad.
Yeah, I thought it would have been Joe Watson that would have had a hard time with this.
Joe Watson's wife sets up everything, though, so he can figure it out.
Oh, I'm aware. Did I tell you about when I did the show with Joe Watson? He told me to call him the day of the show. So I called him at second intermission.
Oh, hey, we got it.
Oh, cool.
You back?
Yeah, it was me, I guess.
Yeah, of course it was, Lou.
Yeah,
I just turned you off, Zach.
But I was telling Zach when I had Joe Watson on, and Zach mentioned that his wife sets up everything. I'm like, oh, I'm aware, because Joe told me to call him the day of the show. He's like, hey, give me a call in a second intermission. Just remind me. We'll make sure it's good to go. I said, all right. So I called Joe, second intermission. I'm like, hey, Mr. Watson, just want to make sure we're still good to go. He goes, well, Dave, my wife's out right now, and if she's not back, I'm not sure if I can do it.
Oh, with the terminal, you mean, and everything else? He's got to do that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Hey, Lou, one thing you should check out. Speaking of Joe Watson, is I had I think it was Christmas Eve. I had Joe and Moose Dupont on at the same time.
Oh my goodness!
I think it was the first time they'd seen each other in about 15 years, and it was a miraculous that it happened because Joe's got an office phone. He doesn't have a cell phone. He's famous for that. And then Moose can't figure out tech stuff either. And the first time they saw each other, Lou, it almost brought tears to my eyes. Like it was here's two guys who battled with one another, the most defensive, tough as nails, Broad Street bullies. It's I think it was my favorite 2 minutes of this podcast when they first saw each other. And then you always expect Moose to have a voice like, I don't know, like Sylvester Stallone or anything.
Nope.
Or something. And then he's got, this dumb French Canadian accent.
It's almost a falsetto, you know?
I punched him so hard. Yeah.
He's Moose is a great guy.
Such a great guy.
Yeah. And same thing with Joe. They're lifelong friends, you know. Moose wasn't with us right off the bat. I guess he was with St. Louis when he broke in.
He was. He got traded mid-period.
Yeah. So he showed up here and
right before the game.
Yeah, I guess he changed rooms, didn't he?
He did. He came from the Blues. He was a Blues player before the game. Got traded. Had to immediately go into the other locker room and put on a Flyers uniform.
Good grief! You imagine that?
No,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that would be like. But he did well here. The old Moose Shuffle, you know.
Yeah.
They did a movies at the center for all the employees, and we sat there, and I was down there. We had a panel afterward, and Jim Watson, Bill Barber, myself, and we watched the movie The Broad Street Bullies on HBO.
It's a great documentary.
Really, with the objective that the history of the team gets lost a little bit from 50 years ago, but on new employees. So trying to do something with that. So that looks like it's going to be fun. Bob Kelly was in that group too, and we talked about it afterward and answered some questions for everybody, and saw a lot of good friends there that I knew, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. good way to spend a couple hours.
I will say the Broad Street Bullies era of Flyers alumni is by far and away the most polite, cordial, friendly, reciprocating era that I've dealt with. I'm a rookie doing this stuff this season, and I've been emailing, contact, reaching out to people. Anybody from that era, it has been absolutely incredible and amazing as far as getting back to me, whether they can or can't do a show or can give a comment. Absolutely incredible. They're amazing.
Great people, that have that common bond that Fred Shiro put on the blackboard. Win the game, walk together forever.
Yeah.
So, what do you hear? An airplane going over there, Zach? Is that what's going on?
No, I'm actually, I just looked up Lou because I'm looking at the photo of that team.
Oh, okay.
And that we will walk together forever. That always stirs up a lot of emotions to me because I know that
your dad. I mean,
just lifelong friends, man. It's incredible, and I don't know if I'll ever see anything like that with free agency and just sort of the nature of the way sports is now. We'll ever have a team like that again.
Well, you'd like to think that it could happen, but I'm not sure it ever could because of what you stated there. A lot happens now. People make a lot of money. Some guys make a bunch. Some guys don't make a bunch. That's how you hit the salary cap. You manage your way through that. And it's hard. When Orest played, I mean, we're talking about
Oh, we lost Lou again.
Oh, Lou, your mic dropped out.
Am I back?
You're back.
The hell? I don't know. Call Joe's wife. Maybe she could help.
I just like that we just got to hear Lou Nolan say hell. That's as close to cursing as I feel like I'll ever hear him come.
Oh, yeah. Well, she'd hear me off the mic. I get that little bit of that hockey mentality, especially when I drive. Oh. I call people lots of names.
Yeah.
Always have. But, I think in general that 50 years is hard to envision.
Yeah.
And I was telling somebody that I remember when I went down there for my first game, all I wanted to do was get a second game. Am I going to be able to do this? And will I be able to be there next Thursday or whenever it was? Because they always were Thursdays and Sundays, it seemed. Now it's all over the board. When you set your schedule, you can't have a regular day of it. But it seems like a long period, not a long period of time. It seems like it just happened,
right.
And year after year after year, and enjoy it. So that's what I tried to do, and so far so good, I guess.
I love too, Lou, that you when you and I spoke on my podcast, you brought up Joe Cadillac. Like, if there's anyone who's more the authorized historian of this team, Dave, he's a guest that you should probably try to get on, who would love to come on. Joe Cadillac has as many great Flyer stories as anybody.
Yeah, many of them that probably you can't tell. Traveling with that group. But last night after the game, we were all having a cocktail. Joe was at the game with his wife, Joni, and we were upstairs talking to the management guys from the Flyers, the guys that run the building, and we started on stories. And, a couple of cocktails in, the stories get better and better. Sure. But they're all true. And the guys are just like, they're blinking their eyes because, so I saw Joe bring airplanes back, back when we flew commercial, yelling at the guy, you better, we got to get on that plane. Like 4 of us missed the plane because we went to get a beer or something. And, he brought the plane back because they were going to leave. The guys got on, they're looking for Joe, closed the door, and they're taxiing out, bring it back. And they brought it back, food intercepted when we're traveling on a train from Montreal to Toronto, and the Canadians in our car, getting cleaned up and getting undressed and get ready to go to bed and eat. They leave, they go to their car, but they take all the food. So we dealt with that. And Joe Watson, like as you're saying there.
What does that mean, you dealt with that?
Well, we went, we found out where the real food was. But Joe sent me to go into the Canadians train to tell them they had our food before we really found out which was our food, and they did not take it kindly. We had beat them that night. Bob Clark, I'm pretty sure it was Bobby, knocked one in between his legs. It was just laying there, and he hit it. And we won the game 7-6 in Montreal.
Oh wow!
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a
who would imagine that? And it was out of control. Big snowstorm, 30 inches of snow. That's why we were on a train instead of an airplane. And so Joe says, "Go in and tell the guys they got our food." So I went in. They're all sitting around, and I said, in a parlor car, or whatever they called them those days. And I said, "Excuse me, guys, I'm Lou Nolan from the Flyers." Okay. I said, "I think when you guys moved from this train back there to where you are now, you happen to take our food." So they told me to F off and get out of there. And then they said, let's put his head in the toilet and flush it. Oh yeah, these guys were pissed.
Really?
Yeah. So I left really quick, and then I got out of there. And I remember right before I left, Frank Mahavlich, who was a great name that you probably remember.
Of course.
Big, tall forward. He opens this sandwich he has. It's a cheese sandwich. It's got one slice of square cheese, American cheese, one wilted piece of lettuce. And he says to Savard, he says, "Serge, we should give him this shit. This is terrible." But it wasn't even our food. We had much better stuff that we finally found at the front of the train. But they just hadn't put it in the back of the car. So
Lou, I love that they sent you. Here's the Broad Street Bullies,
Joe.
Tough guys. You could you could have sent Selesky, who would have been more intimidating.
You don't think any players are going to go in and do that, do you? No way.
That is a great story.
Takes a guy with big stones. That's why. So, yeah, that was something else. I'm glad we survived that.
Yeah,
I'm glad you survived that.
Yeah. Well, it's a team thing. It's a we all the time, And Joe was happy about that. Joe Cadillac. He had given back in those days we didn't have American Express cards. We were carrying credit cards, And when the snowstorm started, we're back at the hotel, and they realized we weren't going to be able to get to the airport. And with that much snow, especially since the people that take the snow off the streets are on strike. It was like a wildcat strike by a bunch of French Canadians.
Right.
And so we have to rent a train. We go in the office of this CN rail car in this Queen Elizabeth, and Joe was saying, "Monsieur, I rent the train." He's trying to speak broken French to this guy. And the guy says, what would you like? What would you like? Speak English. So he says, "I want to get a train car to go to Toronto because the Canadians are going to play the Maple Leafs the next night. We're going to Toronto to get a plane because it's not snowing there." So the guy says, "Okay, how will you pay for it?" So we have Frankie Vary is with us, who was the head of NHL officials, great old ref. He says, Joe says, "What do you think, Frank?" Frank says, "Well, I have a checkbook with me. Will you take a check?" The guy says, "Your check? I'm not going to take your check. You bad ref. The check probably bounced." He's going to rent a whole train car with, the guy finally took the check. But, I mean, hell, who knows?
Yeah.
It wasn't like you pulled out your Amex card and said, "Here you go."
Right.
Wasn't that way. So
I don't even know how credit cards worked back then because there was no electronic.
Diners Club was all they had, I think, but Joe didn't have that.
No, of course.
I think it was Diners Club was like the first card.
Yeah.
I don't know who owned it, but some bank thought it up.
But you just slide it and just assume that it would go through when you would find out like 4 days later. God, I would have just rung up a credit card bill and not worry
swipe
about
all. Yeah, just keep swiping the card all the time. Let them catch up to you later.
Yeah, that's right. You'd be talking behind bars right now.
You're right.
Yeah, that would be good. Well, listen, guys, I've got to be rolling at some point pretty soon.
Yeah,
absolutely. But I just wanted to say thanks for having me on. And I don't know, it's fun to tell stories this way, and I like the way the podcast works. Hockey high and wide. That must mean that the shot was over the net and wider than that. I guess that's what that stands for. Am I right or am I wrong?
I think it's kind of just a description of the Flyers at this moment, high and wide.
Yeah, that's
yeah, they're just not quite hitting the net.
Oh, okay. All right. I understand.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, thanks for the opportunity to be on. I appreciate the chance to do this, and we should do it again.
Yeah.
Oh, look, anytime, man. But please, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you sharing your stories and everything, man.
We'll wait till the hockey season starts next year, and that we have one of those 10 wins in a row like we did at the beginning of the year before the 12-game losing streak, and we'll do it then.
Yeah,
All
we'll
right?
get you on that.
Be
All
good,
right,
guys. Thank you.
Thanks,
Yes,
Lou.
thank you so much,
Right.
Lou. Yeah, Lou Nolan, everybody.
That was awesome, man. Those stories are great.
Oh, he's got so many of them. Like, I think that the two of the favorite stories when I had him on my show. The first one is when the Flyers won their first cup. That was an afternoon game. So the game ended at like 3 or something. So he, this city is like coming together, and it was a rough time for Philly. And there's the magical Gene Hart call: "The Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup," and he's there for all of that. And then he had to work a lacrosse game after that. So he had to stick around the Spectrum and a PA announce is redundant, a lacrosse game, and whoever has cared about the Philadelphia Wings. So, and I unofficially, he told me, I think he was pretty hammered with all the locker room champagne. But imagine like arguably the greatest moment in Philadelphia sports. He had to still continue his work day.
Like go do like his regular job.
Yeah, go to his regular job. Yeah. And at that point, he was already embraced as a member of the team. Like he immediately became a Philadelphia Flyer, despite the fact that he, never scored a goal for them. But yeah, I'm so glad the Flyers have screwed up a lot of stuff this year. But the way they treated Lou Nolan was an inspirational moment of the season. The other story is that the famous Soviet game where they beat the Russians, Ed Van Imp, knocks down whoever. I can't remember the Russian's name. Who cares? And that whole thing. But the leading up to it, the Soviet team was obsessed with two things: Levi's jeans and John F. Kennedy quarters. And so Lou was actually tasked with, he mentioned the story where he had to go into the train and tell the Canadians they stole their food. They also tasked him with going out with the Soviet team, taking them to Macy's and buying them jeans. Like they were just really into jeans, denim. I don't know if denim has a shortage there in Russia. And then when they came back after the game, all of that had been stolen by the KGB. Like the KGB pretended to be security guards, but were actually just robbing this team blind.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And Lou's part of all of that, man. There's probably only a handful of players that have more to do with this team than Lou does. It's 50 years, man. That's impressive.
Yeah, no, I mean, I said it a couple times, man. He's Flyers icon. He's a fabric of this franchise, this organization, man. You know what I mean?
For sure.
He's probably as synonymous with the Flyers as Harry Kalas is with the Phillies. Like, I feel like
absolutely,
that's legitimate.
Merrill Reese, even.
Yeah, or Merrill Reese with those. That's like the Mount Rushmore of Philadelphia sports broadcasting right there. Or media, whatever you want to call it. But no, those guys right there, absolutely.
Can I ask you a question, Dave?
Anytime, Zach. You're my mentor.
Where are all the motherfuckers who said they were going to be on this podcast with us?
Yeah, I know. I was like, hey, I'm like, who wants to come on with Lou Nolan? I had like 7 people. Dude,
everybody says, I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm sending out links, all this stuff. I'm like, all right, cool, we're good to go.
Where are you, Jim? Head of this network.
He actually did text me. He goes, hey, man, got in late, just logged on. I'm watching live.
Oh, great. Good. Well, watching is different than broadcasting, Jim. Let's get spicy.
Yeah, no, I was even talking to some of the guys yesterday. They were like, yeah, dude, let me know. Get it out. When we doing it? When we going live? Yep, I'll get the link out to everybody. Dude, it's just me and you, Zach.
Just the two of us.
Yeah, this is the HW at Night crew for the most part these days.
I think it should become like the DK network because we're the only ones producing content. So do you want to talk about the current day Flyers or do you want to just reminisce a little bit more?
Dude, we can do whatever you want, man. I mean, we got what, 2 games left or 3 games left?
3 games. Yeah.
Yeah,
But two after tonight.
yeah,
And tonight's game is a who gives a shit game.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie though, I do like doing a pregame show as opposed to the postgame show because
Oh, yeah.
normally I'm getting off this show and like trying to go right to bed, so I go to work in the middle of the night.
I know
So
you
like
go to work way too early, man.
2 a.m.
You need a career change.
I'm working on it. What do you think I'm doing here? Like, what do you think I'm here for? This is it right here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing to say. There's no Flyers preview that's interesting to be had. Other than, the kids have been playing well, I guess.
Exactly.
Yesterday was a nice win against Penguins. That's always a good thing. Noah Cates has been playing better than expected, for sure. But now we're just filling time because really none of us care. Like there's, we're really trying to just extract any ounce of hope we have for next season.
Yeah, and I mean, and actually, Jim did put some stuff out there about how people are getting excited about Cates, and I agree with him. Like, we don't need to get too excited about these like late round draft picks and undrafted free agents. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember 7-8 years ago, this kid, Jason Akeson, came up for like 3 games, scored 2 goals, had an assist in those 3 games. And there were some people talk about him like he was a cornerstone of the franchise.
Right.
And then the guy then he disappeared. We never saw him again. So like you can't put any stock in some of this, or not much stock in any of this stuff. Who knows? And there's going to be there has to be a clearing of the house in the offseason. There has to be something wiping the slate clean. I can't imagine most of this crew coming back that's running this organization right now.
I think let's identify the true problem. Keith Jones and Al Morganti. We need to get rid of them. Enough. One, because I want to audition for that job. Because let's just face it, I'm more attractive than Al Morganti, and I'm younger. It wouldn't be it would be far less uncomfortable when he's talking to Taryn Hatcher. Clearly, it's like half a chub. Sorry, Al. Oh my God, he lives 5 minutes from me. That's
I need to let Jim let me move this show off of game nights so I can have like Taryn Hatcher on this show.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah,
like she injects finally some energy into that intermission show, which I know it's odd to me, Dave. Like TNT, I read an article. TNT's halftime show has as good or better ratings than the actual game, the NBA show I'm talking about, of course.
No kidding.
Because that's like, honestly, I can't wait for it to get to halftime because I want to hear what Chuck and Shaq, like the first time you hear like Shaq go, Chuck, you don't know what you're talking about. Like it's just it's really great. And you can create entertainment. And Coachy's Corner used to do that. Steve Coachy used to be just the master of that. Like some of the bits fell flat on their face, but you were always interested in like, okay, what was he going to try to do? And for the past couple of years for the Flyers and then the NHL when they were on NBC Sports, it's like, you don't need to show us the highlights from the first period. We just watched it. The first period. Yeah, we don't need to see the goal we already saw. So be entertaining. And Taryn has really brought that. She's really brought that back, I think, to the intermission show. I think she's pretty extraordinary. And Al is great. I mean, I love Al. I'm just,
Yeah. So some of those guys I want to get on the show, but I can never get them on because like they work the same night that I'm trying to do the show. So
right, yeah, you're never gonna get Al then. And then Al's up at probably 4 a.m. to do Cataldi's show.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't even imagine. He probably gets 3 hours of sleep after a Flyers game.
He has to take a nap right after he's done Cataldi's show.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
He has to.
So I did that show so a long time ago before I even got into radio. Anthony Gargano was still on WIP. He was a midday guy. Like he's a midday guy at the Fanatic now. Mm-hmm. But I went and did Cataldi's show, but Cataldi was out, so it was just me, Al, and Rhea. And I pretended to be a hairdresser and bleached Gargano's hair and then just left it in to the point where he probably had a burnt scalp at some point. But the takeaway from that show is Morgani's out of there at like 10:02 a.m. Like he has a sweet gig there. And I hope it continues because I think he's good at his job. But anyway, that was a lot of middling stories. I'm sorry. That wasn't the best 30 seconds I've ever had on in terms of performance. But yeah, I left bleach in his hair, and that's something I've already said.
Oh, I love having you on here, Zach.
Yeah.
Well, everybody came here for Lou anyway.
That's
Nobody wanted to hear us talk.
I know we're not that particularly interesting. Yeah,
Puck drops in 18 minutes.
Yay!
So for my mentor, Zach Kindertruck, I'm Dave Leonard, Real Delco Dave. Hi, Wide fam. Enjoy the game. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.